Welcome back to Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs. Today, we are revisiting our summer episode with Penny Burns, founder of Beauty Cast Network. Penny has such a heart for helping beauty school graduates understand what comes next after school and how to build a career that is profitable, sustainable, and meaningful. In this conversation, we will talk about students, salon owners, education, confidence, and why it's so important to pour into the next generation. You can listen to or watch Penny's full episode, Empowering Beauty Graduates. Here is a conversation with Penny Burns.
It was really what the market wanted and needed and was using, and so we had to go back and really scratch that program, and we became more of a lead generation platform, so where, we serve students rather than students searching or employers searching. We basically just do all the serving, and we connect the students, through lead generation through our employers. And so we really, along the way figured out what works, and we think we've done a great job. We've sort of hit the magic where, we start working with students while they're in school, and it's more about, 80% of what we do is about career services, where we really educate the students on what comes next and, what they need to be looking at, the journey of a successful person in the industry. And you know what? They all want to start out owning their own business. And that's just not,
Yeah.
that works only for unicorns. And it's
Yeah.
very few of them out there, right?
Right.
We want to, get them to really understand it and to get on a sustainable path and know that they can get to wherever they want to get to in the industry, but they have to get there in a sustainable way. So what we do is mostly about education. We put a lot of content out there. We share a lot about the employers out there in that industry, W-2 employers. And then when the student gets 90 days out from graduation, we connect them to those employers. We get the candidate leads over into our employment partners, and then they start, marketing to them for open positions within their company.
Penny, you have already touched this, but your heart is for those professionals, the students.
Yes.
And what do we as salon owners have to change our mindset for today? What do we have to do that's different from in the past and now that is what is today? What do we have to do?
Well, I think it's always been a little bit of a challenge, to salons. Sometimes they want schools to do a lot more than what they do.
Mm.
And then, of course, schools have this expectation of salons. And, it's sort of meeting in the middle. I mean, sometimes salons don't realize where we started with that student, right? You
Mhm.
didn't see the transformation. Everybody is unique and they come in at a different place in their lives, and they all are mentally at a different place. They're educationally at a different place. And so our job is to take them and then to take them through that fundamentals, those programs, and then get them to be ready to go out into the industry. Salons need to be willing to take that baton, help that person get from that entry level, to keep navigating up. And you're going to have to put a lot into them. I mean,
Mhm.
I hear from salons, well, if I put a lot into them, they may end up leaving me in 2 or 3 years. Well, that's just the way the world
Mm.
is right now. You know what you've got to do is you've just got to you got to pour into them. And you know what? You don't burn bridges with them, because a lot of times if you created a great relationship and you poured into them and you help them grow to the next level, most of them are going to get out there and they're going to bump their head. And a lot of times, and they're going to realize, I don't want to be a salon owner. I don't want to be in a suite by myself or something like that. And if you had a great relationship with them, you're going to be the first person they come back to. But a lot of times as salon owners, we burn bridges. We get so angry that they left. we forget that that was us one day and that, long time ago, and the reason we own a salon today is because we took that chance. But who was the people that poured into us to make us where we had the courage and the confidence to make that step? So, just be willing to take the baton. I mean, that's why we work with a lot of the employers that we do is because they're not expecting with them to stay. They're not expecting that person to stay with them forever. That's not the world we live in anymore. People don't stay 20 and 30 years, like we were sort of trained to do.
Right, right.
We live in a gig world, a gig economy where they want to all go out there and own their own place. And a lot of times they don't know what they don't know. They don't really know what that means. Now, BeautyCast, one of the things that we've done and we've done pretty well is helping them to understand what that looks like better. Understanding the compensation structures. What is it like to be independent? What does that really mean? It's not just the glamour you think it is, being your own
Mhm.
boss. What does being your own boss really mean? You can be your own boss working for somebody else, right? So we've done a really good job at trying to help them understand and navigate that better. And we're already seeing those numbers, and that feedback come back to us on the work we've done in that area.
I think that's so great because as a salon owner, and I still work several days behind the chair, and you say, do not burn your bridges behind you because you never know when you're going to need that person. I have a big wedding party on October the 18th. I had called several people, these are ex employees. And I tell you that two of them had said, I'll come and help you. I have something that evening, but I'll come and help you. So it just goes to show you if they're trained correctly and you pass the baton and you didn't burn the bridge, that you can call them eventually and they'll help you out when you need it.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And you know what? If you're a salon owner and they're struggling, you're checking in with them and say, "Hey, just wanting to check in with you, how things going." You're showing more support. They're like, "Well, it's not really going so well. I don't know if I really want to own my own place."
Mhm. Mm.
Well, hey, come on back here.
Mhm.
We'd love to have you back, and you did great here, so maybe this is where you need to be.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so many times, if we handle it properly, that's what will happen. It's
Mhm.
just we get angry and we're like, they I put all this training in them and they left me. And, that's just part of it.
Yeah. That's
We've
so
all
true.
had that situation. And, I can't tell you how many people I've trained throughout the years, but, ended coming back to me and,
Mhm. Yeah.
we had a long-term relationship. So
Yeah.
I just think it's the way we manage that side of it.
Yeah. Correct, correct.
Well, Penny, having served as a executive board member on AACS and
Mhm.
also as an international advisor for Pivot Point. By the way, I owned a Pivot Point school, so I'm on the
Yeah.
bandwagon. Great, great company and philosophy. I'm just curious as how that helped you or gave you certain insights on the rules of, how to influence making decisions in terms of BCN? Are there lessons from that or certain little philosophies, obviously, that you brought to your company?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, spent many years on the the board of ACTS, the American Association of Cosmetology Schools. I think they've just updated the name, but
Yeah.
that's my tenure. That's when I was there. And I was on the executive board, and at that time I was like one of the youngest ones. And
Mhm.
but I got to be around so many just incredible people that had incredible schools. So I mean, I was like a sponge,
Yeah.
and I got to really just soak up so much and learn so much from all of these people. It's really played a part in how I do business today by, just from the people that I were around and just the passion, surrounding yourself with people that are as passionate about the industry and graduates and people being successful in this industry. So at that time I was convention chair for 9 years. I was the longest running convention
Yeah.
chair. So every year I actually was convention chair and, had the opportunity of putting together a great event along with
Mhm.
a team, and it's just amazing,
Yeah.
and it really helped me, today to, manage events and do the things
Mhm.
that I did. So, and the thing with Pivot Point, I was got to sit at the table with some of the most incredible people across the world because
Yeah.
with that they brought in people, international. And so it was just amazing to be able to, to be a part of that group and, just be in those conversations and those in that thought panels and things
Sure.
like that. So I just absolutely loved it. And yes, it's really influenced
Yeah.
what I do today.
Penny, today I think that a lot of the schools have cut back of course, it depends on the different states that you're in. But in my state, I'm in Texas, and it used to take 1,500 hours for a graduate now it's 1,000 hours. So what is your biggest challenge in the workforce? Getting the people up to speed with less hours that you have with them?
I have this philosophy that it's not about hours because hours has always been. I mean, you look at New York and Massachusetts and all that; they've always been 1,000. They've been 1,000 hours for years and years and years, right? And then you had some states up there that was like 2,300 hours.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I actually was in a state that operated around 1,500 hours. So, I never really like to put it around hours. I think that's where too many people focus on the hours instead of the quality.
Wow.
So, I mean, I've known graduates that's come out of 1,000 hour states that is just incredible. You're right.
Mhm.
And I've known students that's come out of states of 2,200 hours. That's just incredible. The bottom line is it's the quality inside those hours, right? And the worst thing a
Mhm.
student can do is just get in the mindset, or educators or school owners or administrators, is about clocking those hours.
Yes.
You
Uh,
know, because there's a lot of schools out there that, put a lot of quality in those hours, whether they're 1,000 hours or 2,200 hours or 15 or 18. And then there's schools that, a lot of hours are empty hours. You know what I'm saying? It's just about a clock and an hour. I mean, I think, like Texas, for example, we've got some great schools in Texas, the Ogle schools, the Milan schools,
mhm.
Pivot Point schools. I mean, Paul Mitchell schools,
Schools.
Aveda schools. I mean, we got
Schools.
so many fantastic schools in Texas. And you know what? They've all had to, go to 1,000 hours along with Oklahoma. That's happening across the
Mhm.
country. And you know what? I've talked to a lot of them before. They were like, oh no, this is going to be awful. And then I've talked to them afterwards and they're like, you know what? We figured it out. You know what? We really went back and so it's not really hurting them. It's not hurting them. So I think the worst thing we can do is just concentrate on the hours.
Or
So, we've talked a lot about the students, but let's kind of turn it around and
Mhm.
talk about the employers, because really, if I understand your model, they sort of fund the platform. They're the participants that come to you. So, sort of explain the benefits of someone who maybe is out there and needs to employ some new staff. Just give your message about your platform, if to speak to them about why and how your system is the best.
mm,
Well, we're a little unique. I always like to say this. We can't work with every employer out there. We
mhm,
honestly can't work with just a one salon location. We work with the national and regional employers that really have great programs for newly licensed professionals
Mm-hmm.
that got great training programs. We work with intercoiffure salons, we work with the eye spa, like a lot of the big
Mm-hmm.
spa groups and stuff like that.
mhm.
And then we work with, of course, Great Clips, Sport Clips, Fantastic Sam's, all of those kind of groups. People that really hire in bulk, right, and that
Yeah.
have great programs for people to start their career.
Right.
Where they can start making money pretty quickly, and that they have great educational programs. Our old model, we were able to work with more one-off salons, but it became just, I like to be fair because we want to make sure that, we've got graduates everywhere. Our new model for the last 6 years have been, or maybe a little longer, is that we only work with certain types of them. And they pay an annual fee every year to participate with us. And what we do is we really get their brand out there and the features and the benefits of their company in a very consistent kind of way. So we're constantly educating the student on what it's like to work for this type of company.
Mhm.
So, they hire about 12 to 15% of all the graduates out there, but it's equipping the students to really, whether they go work for one of these brands or not, to really be able to go out there and pick the right salon, and ask the right questions and all of this
Mhm.
kind of stuff. So they're just the ones who, they love what we do at BeautyCast and
Mm.
pay us to do what we do. And so we're a very unique model. So, we're not like an Indeed or going to fall in what we work with. So I'm going to say confidence. I think confidence, what, the more confident that we are, our beauty's going to come out. And, confidence is a never ending thing. It's something we have to work on constantly. And so I think the more confident we are, the more beautiful we are.
Love that answer. Love
Thank you.
that answer.
Thank you.
So, well, I just want to say thank you, Penny. It's been wonderful getting to just chat with you and have a little dialogue about all the fabulous things you're doing in our industry. I just salute you and have enjoyed this podcast immensely.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it too. It's an honor to be on with you guys. Hey, I'm Penny at beautycastnetwork.com. People reach out to me all the time. So I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. So just look me up. Beautycast Network is on those platforms, but I'm not hard to find. Just reach out there and I'm an open book and an open doors. Just, find me and let's connect.
Thank you for joining us for this summer episode with Penny Burns. I love Penny's message about helping beauty graduates find the right path and remembering as salon owners that we have a responsibility to guide, support, and encourage the next generation. And I really love what she shared about confidence, because the more confident we become, the more our beauty and purpose shine through. You can listen to or watch Penny's full episode, Empowering Beauty Graduates. Thank you for listening to Artists, Icons, and Entrepreneurs. Please subscribe, share, and join us again for more inspiring conversation.